What's up, everybody? This is Michael Lee and Kevin Knighton down here with the studio glasses on today for the Backwoods Life
Well,
podcast.
I gotta be able to see what you look like whenever I look at you.
I think they look good.
I will say Bonnie looks much better in glasses than you do, Kevin. I think we all can agree on that.
I would agree.
If she didn't, it would be extremely disappointing because I know what I look
like. Thank you.
Well, we got Bonnie and Mike McFerrin from Legends of the Fall on the Outdoor Channel here with us today. I know some people will watch this and see us all here, but most of the people will probably just hear us all here. So we got to keep that in mind because I'm really bad about, hey, you see this over here, and you can't see it because it is not there. But anyway, thank y'all for taking time on a Monday morning now to be on here with us. And for those of y'all that are listening and not watching, Mike is waiting to hit his growth spurt, so he's tall as Bonnie.
He's on I'm sorry.
Yeah, we only had one chair in Bonnie's office, so I'm sitting on the
We didn't get him a chair.
I thought you had him on a milk crate back there.
Yeah, it's a little shorter
about 2 foot shorter.
So, we've established where you all are. You're in Bonnie's office. So what's been going on in you guys' world here lately?
We've been traveling a lot, going down to the ranch, just getting ready for this season. And there's a lot of preparation that goes into it. Keeping our supplemental feed stations running, we just put our cameras out. We just put our new flex cameras out, and just stuff like that. Just trying to get ready for this upcoming season because I know in about a month and a half, it's just going to be a blur.
That's a fact right there. And Kevin and I were honestly doing the very exact same thing, just on a smaller deer scale than what you guys have going on down there in Texas. But we put our flex cameras out this weekend, and Spy Point, by the way, shameless plug as we always do on these things. And we have no sponsors of our podcast, so we just talk about whatever. And so don't feel like if you say something that's going to offend any company in this industry that we really care. So anyway, I was on a tractor, and Kevin was on trail camera duty with my dad, Big Mike. So I know that was an adventure in itself.
Yeah, I think we activated 8 new flex cameras successfully. Got them put out on trees, and it's pretty cool. Those have you noticed how those pictures look clearer than the old ones we've been looking at?
100%, yeah.
It's kind of like Photoshop for your trail camera. Just makes everything look better, right?
We got some really good video, and I mean, the quality was really good. So I was excited to see that, and we're just enjoying this cold front that blew in. Down there filling feeders, enjoying this cold front. I mean, I think it was 106.
If anybody wants a redneck weight loss plan, feel free to come to the South and work with us or Bonnie and Mike on the ranches and our hunting lease, because you will lose about 700 pounds in a week of sweat if you want to.
I leave a lot of that up to Mike. I mean, yeah. I'm back at the house and for moral support, obviously, cooking and cleaning. And
oh yeah.
We have the brains and the brawn. That's what we have here.
Beauty and the Beast.
Kevin, we don't have that, by the way. We're not.
I was trying to decide if I was the beauty or the beast. I wasn't real sure.
I'm just going to leave that subjective to anybody that's listening or watching this right now to go.
Well, Beth. We have Beth.
Yeah, she was actually. This is how it was. So, our friends Philip and Anna are in our lease over there with us, and so somehow Kevin pulled, I'm going to chauffeur a Big Mike card and go just mess with trail cameras, while Beth and Anna and Philip were filling feeders, lifting 50-pound sacks of feed and putting in feed. And Kevin just riding around, got him a little cold drink over here, putting cameras out, just
in my defense,
Kevin stuff.
I was told what I was going to do.
I was
that whole group of people that came by you said, you're on trail camera duty. You get those things activated. We ain't messing with them.
Well, I know Beth likes to work out and get in the gym, so those bags of corn.
Yeah, that's why we let her do all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a great time of the year to be in the woods, temperature wise, but you do feel like I will say, you sweat hard and you work hard. When you get done, you do feel like you accomplished something.
Oh, there's no doubt. When you shut that gate and you leave and you head back home, I mean, you feel like you got something done, and you can't. I mean, it's like Christmas too. You're boxing up a gift, and you can't wait to open it when those trail cameras start popping up.
Right, I'm gonna say. Then you're driving down the road, going, "Okay, what am I gonna get first right here?" You know?
Yeah.
That's what Mike and Georgia Kate are just constantly on there looking, and I mean, like y'all, we've been doing this for so many years. It's like when the heat comes, it's coming, but you are kind of used to it. So we know what the prep is.
And just for everybody, the new people that may have been living under a rock and never heard of Legends of the Fall, how many years have you guys been? This is what you're on television.
13.
This is season 13, yes. And prior to that, we were with Drury Outdoors for about 5 years. We did Bow Madness and Dream Season. So kind of got our feet wet there, and
we're about 20 years in.
We're about 20 years.
We know how that feels.
and what gets me is that, so yeah, we're right there with you guys. I mean, almost 20 years, and I get all these great text messages while I'm doing podcasts. So if y'all hear dings, it's just on my end, so don't worry about it.
All right.
But everybody, you think when you start doing this that like it's going to get easier as we go. Like, things are going to fall into place better. You're going to have more and more places to go. Man, this is going to be a piece of cake. But 20 years later, we still work our butts off. And if you want something, you dang sure got to work for it, because I see some of these people that have these red carpets rolled out for them that go, hey, go on this hunt and kill this deer. I'm still not there yet. I don't know about y'all, but I just don't quite have that part of this figured out yet.
For me personally, I enjoy setting up a farm. I enjoy, running my own cameras, setting up my farms, putting up my own stands. I would rather, now I'm not going to say it's not, I do go on some outfitted hunts. I mean, and that's nice. I'm not saying anything bad about that, but I get a lot of enjoyment out of doing it myself. I just, something I've always really enjoyed, the challenge and the effort that you put into seeing the end result, and it's just something you don't get. I don't get that when I go to an outfitter, or.
I think it's Mike's therapy.
It is my.
As I'm sure it is for you and Kevin. It's definitely his therapy.
Yeah, I feel like that time doesn't get counted against you on your time clock when you're out there
right.
in the deer woods.
I think it adds years to your life, and I say that with some. I'm kind of tongue in cheek a little bit, because some people be like, "Yeah, right," but you look at people like my dad's a great example at 70 years old, and I mean he's right there with us doing everything, and I really think you're right. Therapy is in the outdoors, whether it's just riding that tractor or putting out feed or cameras or whatever you're doing. The hunting is just the added bonus part of it, right?
Exactly.
Right. I would agree with that.
Kevin, do you have anything to interject into that?
I do, actually. I was just sitting here thinking whenever you were talking about that me and your dad spent a lot of time on a boat together this weekend after we finished all the work. And,
wait a second. I don't know about the work was finished, but they went fishing.
Yeah, well, after we, could sneak away. And we caught our first bass out of our pond for actually putting in some hot grease for a pond we've been trying to manage. And that was some good times out there with Big Mike.
I'm going to throw this out there, though. If you get my dad's version of the story, Dad caught 99% of the fish.
We had 10 fish on a stringer, and I can verify that, yes, 90% of those were your dad's.
Kevin, welcome to me at a young age. So, see, you just didn't get the experience decades of fishing with my dad, so now you catch up time, buddy.
I almost had 20% on the stringer, but whenever I was poking the stringer through the fish's mouth on one of them, somehow I ended up letting him go. So I held on to the stringer, though, so that was a plus.
Catch and release.
Dad probably caught that one after you let it go anyway. So.
Well, I tell you what, that family time, like you're talking about, Michael, I mean, you're going back to memories when you were a kid, and Kevin and your dad making memories. I mean, it's for us, that's pretty much what being outdoors and doing all of this is about, you know? I mean, it's such an important part of our lives. And I feel like, you know, hunters, most of the hunters I know are pretty grounded because of it. And we look at our children and, you know, Mike spent so much time with them, you know, on the ranch. I mean, me as well, but he had them out there hunting from an early age. And I just feel like they've become grounded individuals. And I really think that the outdoors has a big part of that.
For sure.
You know,
and it's not about the harvest or killing an animal. It's more about, you know, the time you spend with your friends and family, you know, hunting and just enjoying the outdoors. That's what's important to me personally.
I agree.
It's not
about big deer.
It's not about big deer.
No.
Less about big deer.
Never, not with y'all. Well, you're just look. You just got to play by the rules of the ranch, Mike. It's not your fault they're all 200 inches when they get that old.
Size does not matter.
Said no one ever, but us today. But no, I have watched the current season of Legends of the Fall, and I noticed, you know, now in the intro we got Georgie and Christian and McKenna, and like, okay, we're full circle. You know, with what you're talking about, because having been down there to you guys' ranch house, like if you go and look at photos, you can see that evolution of you guys and your kids all growing up there, which is really awesome. I mean, I know you guys have hunted in that area, you know, for a long, long time, but to pass that on, and I'll tell you right now, I'll put Georgia Kate up against anybody.
Anybody, yeah,
anybody. I don't care.
She is probably, you know, become one of the biggest outdoors lover out of the three children. I mean, they all love it, but she knows that ranch inside and out. As you know, Michael, you've been down there with her. She loves it, and
she just really enjoys hunting and being in, you know, being in the outdoors, and she knows how to do it. For a female, she knows how to, like, she can put up her own stand. She can, you know, put it in the right spot. And she works the wind. I mean, she
knows how to shoot.
Yeah, no doubt.
She's just a hunter.
She is a hunter.
I was following all you guys' social media. Was it last year when she spent some time in Africa running a camera?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
She shot all kind of critters out there.
Oh, yeah. She was going to, quote unquote, just run a camera for some friends. And she got down there and they said, "Don't bring your bow." And I think it was about 3:00 in the morning. My phone started ringing, and I jumped up and I saw her number, and I was like, "What did she call me for? It must be an emergency." And I said, "Hello," and she said, "Dad, there's a giant kudu coming in. Can I shoot him?" And I said, "What do you mean, can you shoot him?" Well, they want to know if I want to shoot him, and I said, "Well, first of all, how much does he cost?" She said, "I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'll pay for it with my own money." I said, "But if he gets in the bow range, I'm taking him." I mean, I was sitting there then I was wide awake. I was sitting there, all right, well, walk me through it. Just put me on hold. So, I mean, I was listening to the whole thing. Whack, you know, got him.
That's awesome.
Did she pay for it with her own money?
Yeah, that never happened. The pay for your own money never happened. I think
Dad, I need you to go in my room and break my piggy bank for me and send it to Africa.
Yeah.
I put it on my credit card and never saw the reimbursement.
In her defense, though, she does a lot of work at the ranch for Mike. So.
She does. She runs the camera for us a lot, and she does if I'm out there working, she's right there with me. So you got to factor that in, I guess.
Well, she's run the camera for Michael and Bev multiple times. So, yeah.
No doubt. No, just about. Well, see, one second. On this wall behind me, for those of y'all listening, there's a picture.
Oh, yeah.
And she videoed both of those deer.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, she's good at it. Like you can tell she really enjoys it. She knows what to do. She had good teachers, obviously. And I mean, seriously, when you go down there and hop in a blind with her, she knows every deer. Like she's gonna be like, "That's that guy. That's that guy. That's that guy," and it's fun. I mean, she's and turkey hunting too. I mean, yeah,
there aren't many people that can see a deer year after year and trace him all the way back to, oh yeah, that was that buck, that was him last year, and she's one of those people. She sees some antlers, she remembers them.
Right. Kevin sees antlers, he just shoots them.
Yeah.
I do remember seeing a buck before, and that could be him.
Yeah.
I have seen one with antlers that time, remember?
Hey, I'm kind of with you there, Kevin. I kind of struggle on that. But Mike's like, don't you remember that?
My
Remember, I
biggest
didn't let.
problem is I just like shooting them.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
it.
I think it's one of those things that we all like shooting them, and sometimes we look for an excuse, whatever that needs to be to justify it in your mind. I think he was limping.
Yeah.
I think he had. I think something was wrong with him.
If you ever
Now
put that thought
he,
into, go ahead. If you ever put that thought into your mind, you'll justify it. I guarantee
oh
you.
yeah, there's no doubt.
he was
I've
kind of
aged
run
enough.
down a little bit. He's losing weight. He can't be healthy.
It can't be helped.
The more I look at him, the older he gets.
So for you, Bonnie and Mike, other than hunting at the ranch in Texas, and that's kind of how we operate too, is other than hunting at home, what's your next favorite thing to do in the hunting space?
For me, it's going to be elk hunting. I mean, I love to archery elk hunt, um, and usually New Mexico. I've had the opportunity to hunt Arizona a couple times. I mean, but it would be elk hunting for me, and then probably mule deer. I really love hunting mule deer or hunting. If it's whitetail, if it's not Texas, I want to be in Kansas. I think a lot of people want to be in Kansas or Iowa if you can draw the covenant tag. But
Yeah,
as a non-resident, that could take 3 or 4 years now.
And I'd have to follow suit with Mike. I mean, I just absolutely love archery elk hunting. I've had the opportunity to do it several times, and the challenge of it, there's been a lot of times I've been hiking and thinking, oh my gosh, am I going to make it? And but it's just so rewarding. I've walked away with an elk in hand and without, and every time made memories and had fun. And oh my gosh, the challenge of it is just awesome. And I like hunting in the Midwest. It's just a different speed than at home. I like hanging in a tree and seeing the different Midwest looking whitetail, a little bit different looking than ours. And of course, we kick off a lot of seasons going to Alberta, and I love that as well. That spot and stalk hunting in the crops is just, I mean, it is, you have your little window of opportunity, and it seems like to me, it's like a lot of pressure, but it's just so much fun,
No doubt.
watching them bed down and sitting there waiting, thinking, whenever they stand up, I'm gonna.
Well, you'll spend hours on a stalk and it can get blown out like that. The wind can change directions, or another deer can stumble up on you and blow. And I mean, just spend 6 or 7 hours on a stalk and it ends in about 2 seconds. It can deflate you pretty quick.
I like the challenge. I like the challenging.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, it makes it fun.
Kevin, I like the easy hunts. How about you?
Well, I just was sitting here thinking about me and you spotting and stalking for some mule deer, and thinking, sometimes even the guide can just blow it for you. You never know what's going to happen.
Actually the mule deer, he's in my office right here on the Kevin talk about on that hunt. But we watched this one buck. He's just a big 3x3, but he's like a basically 170 inch 6-point because he's got no forks. But he was a big mature old mule deer, and Kevin and I were hunting with a guy in Colorado, and we spotted this buck. He was with another buck that was pretty nice, but he was younger, and then like this little velvet raghorn spike looking thing. And of course the spike's the one that tries to blow the hunt every time for us. We do a stalk. We watched the deer bed down, and we were muzzleloader hunting. So in Colorado, no scope, open sights, and you got to use granular powder. So it's a process. You can't just lock and load. So we stalk up on the deer, and the guide, we're following him, and we sit. We can see the tips of their antlers, and we're like, all right, let's just sit here and wait. All he's got to do is stand up, and I'm gonna have like a 70-yard shot. And we're sitting there, and then this guy just gets impatient, and we'll talk about outfitters in just a second. But he gets impatient, and he's like, "We got to go, we got to move, we got to make him get up." And he just starts crawling, and Kevin and I look, he's like, "He's going to screw this up." And sure enough, about the time he starts crawling, we can see that spike. His eyes get this big, and they're all three get up, and they're gone.
And
so we finally shot this deer on the last morning that we had to hunt. And I don't even remember how many days. I think we watched him for like 4 or 5 days before, we could get on him good. The last morning, me and Kevin get out of the truck, and the guy's like, "Okay, I'll get my spot and scope, and we'll go look." We said, "No, you keep driving. We'll call you when we're done." About 15, 20 minutes later, we had that deer dead. So,
really? You stay in the truck?
Yeah, we just made him hey, you just drive down the road and park. We'll call you when we're done. And we did. We went in there and killed that deer. And that's another thing. I'm not going to badmouth all outfitters out there because we do still hunt with outfitters. But after 15 or 20 years of hunting with different outfitters, there's a lot of them out there that, like you said earlier, Mike, when we do it ourselves, we blame ourselves. We know what we do it our way, and we know what works or doesn't work on our end. But when you're hunting with somebody else, you're at the mercy of the way they do things. And maybe we're not on the same page a lot of times.
Oh,
well, yeah. And I think a lot of times they just, especially some guides that work at outfitters and stuff like that, they haven't hunted with a camera and a hunter, because it changes the whole dynamic. I mean, it slows things down. It's 2 bodies instead of 1 out there trying to sneak up on an animal. It's just plus with the actual outfitter or the guide. I mean, now you got 3 people trying to sneak up on the animal. I mean, it just makes things a lot more difficult. Multiplies things. And
I think most outfitters, and we've hunted with guys turkey hunting and deer hunting and elk and everything too. But I think they look for that shot opportunity, which they don't need but a couple seconds for the average hunter on a hunt. Like you said, you're not trying to video, you don't have another body to hide, you don't have all these variables, and they just want that guy to get a shot. And as an outfitter, that's your goal, is put somebody in there, let them shoot something and do your job. But our job is so much harder, and I think that's where a lot of the disconnect is.
Oh, for sure.
I have to agree with that 100%.
Yeah, when you get back to camp, they're telling everybody this idiot had a shot and didn't take it, and you're telling everybody we couldn't get any video of him. It's 2 different things.
Yeah, how many times, like when the cameraman, I'm on him, I'm not on him, I'm on him, I'm not on him. Shoot, don't shoot.
Different angles.
I mean, there's definitely challenges with the filming.
And I will say this: if it's on our property that we pay for and we do all the work on, I'm going to shoot him. Did you get that on video? Well, not really. Okay, cool. We'll just do it just to follow up here. But I've been hunting this deer for I don't know how long. In Georgia, you may not get a shot but one time ever. Yeah. So it's just one of those things. But with outfitter, you don't have that.
Michael will tell you real fast. If you ain't on him, you better get on him, because there's fixing to be some lead flying.
Because I made that mistake one time on our property. My buddy Fred was videoing us, and I had a really good buck go across this power line that we had chasing some does, and I'm sitting there in the scope just, all right, man, are you on him? And it took him a few seconds because he was facing this way and he had to turn the camera and gear everything this way. And the deer got away because I held off on the shot. But in hindsight, we would have just went ahead and ground checked him, and we'd have showed everybody what it looked like after the fact.
Well, that's the thing about, that's the challenge, I guess you could say, about hunting with a camera too, is it makes things a little more difficult. And like, during the rut, that buck comes cruising across your property, you'll never see him again. He doesn't live there. He might live 5 miles down the road. I mean, you got one shot at him.
Yep. And that's another thing. We get asked all the time, like, what's your favorite state to hunt and what time of the year? And everybody wants to know, hey, man, don't you want to hunt like, Illinois during the rut and Kansas? And, I don't. The rut's the worst time to hunt. I mean, yes, you're going to see a lot of deer maybe that you don't know about. I mean, in Georgia, it's kind of fun because it's our rifle season, so we're just able to burn them down if we get a shot. But as far as bow hunting goes, though, the rut's probably one of the most difficult times. And I've seen some of the biggest deer of my life and just watched them walk away. I mean, with a doe locked down or something like that out of range, they never come in because that doe doesn't come in. I know Kevin and I both were in Ohio one year, and I had a 170+ inch deer locked down with a doe, and he had one that was probably at least 180 locked down with a doe, and we're sitting there watching them at 60, 70 yards and saying, well, there goes a booner. That was cool, right?
Yeah.
Bow hunting the rut can be some of the most exciting hunting but in my opinion, it's not the easiest time to shoot a big buck.
I would agree with that.
No, for sure.
And that's where I think when people, there's a lot of hunters that, I've heard comments, well, you guys always get one, or or whatever. And it's like, no, we've been out there for 2, 3, 4 weeks trying to make this happen. And it just, the kill does go on the show, but it doesn't always come together fast or at all, and
that's true. And then, one thing about hunting at home and hunting, like, just like you guys, you set up your farm, you run your cameras, you know where the deer are, you can pattern them, you can wait till the wind's right, slip in there, and maybe have an opportunity early season before they start chasing does. Because a lot of our deer, and I'm sure it's the same with you guys, they'll leave your property just like they live there all summer long and live there, early season. But when the rut kicks in, just like that buck runs across your property from 5 miles away, your buck's running across somebody else's property 5 miles away. I mean, it just, it's tit for tat on that end. So you'll lose some of your deer to your neighbors that way. And I mean, we do every year. We lose deer all the time, even though we're hunting a pretty big ranch and have, good neighbors. I mean, 5 or 6 year old buck comes across the fence and somebody wants to shoot him, they're going to shoot him, just like likewise, so you have to, anytime you pass a deer, you're taking that risk, especially on a younger deer, he's a 170-inch 4-year-old and you pass him, there's a chance your neighbor might not, even though the rules on our neighbors kind of keep the same management rules. We try to shoot 5-year-old deer or 6-year-old deer. Well, everybody knows what happens when a big deer walks out and the age goes away,
Well, and it's a little bit different when you've seen that deer on your place every year for the last 4 years. You know exactly how old he is, whereas first time you ever seen him, you don't recognize the deer. It's a little harder to figure out that age.
And that's where the antler size kicks in, Oh, look at this big boy coming across. We'll never see. We won't see him next year. They'll shoot him next year.
That's what I would be telling myself about next to Mike McFerrin. I'd be like, oh, he's going to let him go this year, but next year we won't see that deer. He's going to hammer him.
Trust me, I've worked through all those scenarios. I've been on both sides of it. I've done it all.
Mike has a checklist when he sits in the stand, like, okay, yes, I covered that point, that point. All right, shoot that deer.
I gotta shoot.
And Mike, you hit on something there a minute ago too. You said that you hunt your own property, you can watch your cameras and you can wait on the right wind and all that. So I mean, hopefully you might shoot that deer even the first time you go to that spot, because you might have waited a month before you went to that spot and made sure it was at the right time. We go to the outfitter or something, you got 4 days. It don't matter if the weather turns bad or if the conditions aren't exactly perfect to go one spot. You got a limited time to jump in there, so that's a big difference there on the home farm. That's
right, and you can't pick the weather. I mean, you go out of state or go on a hunt somewhere else. You have these dates booked. You can't pick the weather either. It might be hot, it might be windy. I mean, there's so many factors involved. Where if you're hunting at home, I mean, if it's hot or windy and they're not going to be moving, you're just like, well, I'll wait another day. And I mean, that's the plan. Basically, my goal is to slip in there and kill them the very first time we see them. If it's a target buck, not to get in there and, rush it or something like that. I want to get in there, slip in there, get them killed. And we kill a lot of deer early season, because even though deer season opens, October, usually October 1st for us. Well, I'm not waiting till October to get things started. I mean, I've been looking at these deer since August or June, or July. We start working on it in June. By July, we've got all of our cameras out by the end of July. By August, we have all of our blinds set up on where we're going to go and kind of have our target bucks figured out. Then we got September and October. We're just waiting, just trying to pattern them a little more and figure out what direction they're coming from. And when October rolls around, we're in there to kill them. It's just like,
back in the day, and I think Beth told me Michael did this too. I mean, back in the day, there was no way.
Yeah, I didn't have it all on a computer. I had it on a notebook. I mean, I'd cut out pictures that I had and I'd glue them on there, and I'd put the time of year, where he was on the map, all kind of stuff.
Yeah,
y'all said a while ago about looking through that app on the way home. That's a lot better than having to drive home with a Ziploc bag full of rolls of film to take to the
I know.
developer.
Go get about 20 raccoons developed.
We
And
had
one
boxes,
doe.
boxes of that at the ranch, and like now we're like, why do we have all these pictures? Oh yeah, because that's how it used to be.
But I'll tell you, we killed a lot of deer by going back. Deer that had gotten pictures of, year or two prior, and it's like this deer's got a lot of potential. I put him in my book where he was at, and then say he was a 3-year-old, and we figured we'd try to hunt him at 5. Well, 2 years later, I'd start going through that book. If I see a 3-year-old that was a decent 3-year-old, we'd go run a camera over there and see if we could find him again. And
we're showing our age right now.
And we actually killed some bucks, killed a few deer that we had some history of that we've just been keeping in a binder. So,
Kevin, I guess I'm keeping a binder.
Photo developing.
Yeah. I mean, if I would have put all this effort into something else besides deer hunting, I mean, I don't know where I'd be.
I ask this question all the time to people, like when we're sitting around a group of people like all of us right here. I was like, what does a normal person do that doesn't hunt? Like what
do they do?
I think we're normal, but like what I would go crazy knowing my Saturday plan was I'm gonna get up, gonna go play golf and come home and mow grass, and that's Saturday every weekend. I don't know how to do that.
I remember when Bonnie and I used to, like, we'd have some place to go or something. This was when we were younger. Maybe our kids were real little or before we had kids. And she's like, yeah, we're going to go there. There'll be a bunch of people there. I'm like, do any of them hunt? Because, I mean, I just, am I going to have
what
anybody?
What am I supposed to talk about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and our middle one, McKenna, is getting married in December, and her fiance Jake, he said to me the other day, Mike was at the ranch again, and he goes, does Mike go every single weekend? And I said, yes, Jake, he does.
Yeah. I mean,
welcome to the family.
And by the way, welcome to the family, and you're going now.
Yeah, and you're going now, and he already has. I mean, he was already a hunter, but he's kind of figuring out the program. He's been on the show the last couple of seasons, so he's getting his foot wet in the filming and everything.
Well, the fact that he asked that question about every weekend means you still got a little training to do there, Mike.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, who doesn't go to the ranch? If they could, who doesn't go to the ranch every weekend?
I was gonna say I could think of about everywhere else that worse to be than there for a weekend. I'm just saying that's.
Well, during the off season, I don't go every weekend, but now that it's getting closer to deer season, I mean, I'll start going more frequently because, I'm working on the game plan. I'm working on October 1st. I've got a deadline.
Kevin, get on the game plan, son. We got work to do.
Kevin, you still hadn't made it down to Texas with us. You'll have to come sometime.
Yeah, that's a hard one to edit every year because I'm like, oh, this looks like a lot of fun. That'd be fun to look at.
Yeah, Mike, if you've got any good management 4 points, Kevin is your guy.
Hey, I'll help you shoot does. It don't matter. Sign me up.
Literally, the hog shooting is fun enough down there, in between hunts, of course, but especially when coming out of turkey hunt, I mean, that's a given staple. That's a great time of year just to manage to pile up some pork. But another thing that I've had the pleasure of encountering with you guys is these rattlesnakes that are long as my truck.
There are quite a few.
There are quite a few, and they're out there. I mean,
you'll never know where you'll find one either.
And Georgia Kate and I had an experience last season where
please tell that story, please, and word for word.
So I mean, I tell you what, we've been down there for 23 years, and this has never happened. But she and I were in a ground blind, and she was filming me, and we were looking at a deer, and the next thing I know, she said, "Snake, get out!" And I jumped up, and she was pushing me forward, and I was pushing her aside. I couldn't see it, and he was legitimately.
He was about 6 inches in the blind and about 5 foot hanging out. He's about a 5.5 foot snake, and his head had just poked, like she heard him coming through the grass.
Somehow Georgia Kate heard him.
And looked back through the window and saw his body and looked down right next to her boot, and there he was coming on under. And she jumped up, started pushing Bonnie towards the window to jump out. And Bonnie just naturally instinct pushed her back. And she was like, "What are you doing?"
I had no idea what his snake was. I mean, Georgia Kate was calm, cool, and collected. I was not.
Bonnie's not a big cusser, but I mean, she dropped the bomb a lot.
I try to keep it clean, and a few things came out of my mouth that I'm not proud of. But I mean, I haven't ever had that experience, and it was. I mean, we laugh about it now, but you know, we both had our snake boots on, but you know, Georgia Kate was sitting there filming in shorts because it was, you know, probably 99 degrees, and I don't know. I just think how that could have gone, and so the moral of the story is kill them all. They've got to go because you never know. You know, I mean, we've had them around the house. We have them out in the field. We have animals. You know, just anyway. We've been fortunate enough to never have anybody get bitten, and I want to keep it that way.
I've heard a lot about Mama Bear instincts, but I didn't know Mama Bear was supposed to push her kid back over into the snake.
No, believe me, I
can have her.
She's like, "Thanks, Mom." I'm like, you know,
every man for himself.
Every man for himself. Good luck and God bless.
That's I just wonder what that snake thought before he probably met his maker. But
Georgia Kate,
yeah,
quickly put the camera down and got the gun and finished him.
The snake's thinking, man, I got this cool big stump I'm fixing to crawl up under.
Yeah.
Get me a nice rat out here, and holy crap, it just blew up.
I tell you what, it has made me a lot more aware, as it should. You know, I feel like I've kind of just powered through all these years, and like I know the snakes are there, and I'm looking for them, obviously. But this has made me much more aware. And sure enough, last year after I killed my buck, Georgia Kate and I had come out to the Jeep to get something, and we're going back to the blind, and you know, 5 feet, 8 feet away from us was a big one rattling at us. You know, and so it's just. You just always have to be watching where you're stepping around there.
Thank God they're not aggressive. You know, they're not alarm boxing. I mean, they're just out there really minding their own business. And we kill them around the house, we kill them around our feed pens, but we don't go out looking for them. You know, because you could go find them if you wanted.
Oh yeah, there's some stuff out there that you couldn't pay me enough to go through.
Yeah,
to even be around. And that's the thing, like, you know, growing up in the South, Kevin and I both, I mean, we've been around snakes. And like you said, Mike, water moccasins are a whole nother podcast. Is how aggressive and mean they are. But growing up around rattlesnakes, you respect them for sure. And you keep an eye out. But I never really had an appreciation for learning to look for every little detail of a snake until I started turkey hunting a lot. I know Kevin and my cousin were hunting one time. I had a rattlesnake crawl up right in the middle of them sitting by a tree here in Georgia. And that didn't end well for the snake either. But that's the time of the year where, you know, they're kind of getting back active again too. So they're really moving in the spring, and here we do not have near the numbers of snakes that you guys have.
Well, they mate that time of year, so they come out, they're hungry, they've been denned up, and they're also, you know, getting ready to mate. So we see a lot of males fighting. They'll be raised up, you know, fighting and stuff like that, trying to knock each other down. What you have to watch out for is when you see two males fighting, there's a female laying there somewhere. And it's really cool to watch. We videoed a couple of times, but.
Have y'all ever eaten rattlesnake? Because a lot of people, I have not.
Mm-hmm.
Tastes like chicken.
I haven't either.
It's good. Really, it is.
I heard that.
It tastes like chicken.
Yeah.
We have a guy down there that runs dogs, and last year he killed in the spring 57 or 67 rattlesnakes in a very short period of time. I'm talking like in 2 weeks. Wow. I mean, I think last year we killed over 100. You know, just around the areas like that. I mean, we're covered up in them, and you've been there. You know, you don't see a small snake. They're all you know, three. You don't see any 3-footers hardly. You see 4 or 5-footers. You know.
It's almost like the small ones are scared they're going to get eaten by the big one, probably. But one thing we do have here, though, while we're on the snake topic, is on our lease we have indigo snakes that are, good gosh, 6-8 feet long. They'll scare you to death if you don't know what they are. They're like a python fixing to eat your face, but or a cobra rather. Sorry, they're like a big black cobra. But to this day, we have seen one rattlesnake.
Really?
5 years, we've seen one rattlesnake, and it was about that long crossing the road. But
the indigos eat the.
Yeah, we've actually seen indigos eat rattlesnakes. We saw like down where we're at, they get a little bigger than that. I mean, I've seen 8-9 footers.
And they will scare you.
And they will scare you to death. And I've seen one eating a 5-foot rattlesnake. It was got him, just munched him right down.
I mean, that's what's crazy to me is like indigo snake in that part of the country should weigh like 75 pounds and be 14 feet long with all the rattlesnakes they have to eat down there.
Sure.
Oh, they're big. They'll scare you to death, though. Like you said, they look like a cobra.
Mm-hmm. Me and Kevin rode up on 2. I don't know if they were fighting or mating or what they were doing, but one was probably 6 and one was 8. And we just moved out of their way. They were a lot bigger than we were.
Yeah. Y'all do your thing.
Yeah, y'all do. Yeah, whatever. Just keep eating rattlesnakes. We're going to go on. We'll put some feed on. We'll tell you where they are.
Even that big, though, they're one of the calmest snakes out there. I've seen YouTube videos of people catching them, and most of the time they don't even bite people. But I ain't going to find out. I can promise you.
Oh, they have teeth.
Yeah, they
have teeth.
Yeah, they can and will.
Yeah.
They can and will.
Well, transitioning into something a lot better than snakes into this thing. So if you guys have we've already established that you like to hunt different stuff like all of us do. I mean, as a hunter, you want to see different pieces of property, you want to see different places and shoot different deer, of course, and those kind of things, elk, mule deer. But if you have all right, Mike, you got 1 week of the year to hunt, one animal to hunt, where's it going to be and what's it going to be?
It's going to be September. It's going to be out west, and it's going to be an elk.
All right, Bonnie, no pressure.
Same.
And now we know why they're married. They agree on everything.
She likes what I tell her to like.
Mike's got a little prod over there poking her leg like, you answered that question just like I told you to.
Yeah, you bet.
We're both really big fans of elk hunting.
Yeah. And to think that, with both of you killed, several deer over whitetail over 200 inches and some really big mule deer. So I think for myself, I don't really know how I would answer that question.
Yeah.
Because it's not an easy thing as a hunter to pick, one thing to do. But Kevin, what would you say?
I was hoping you wasn't going to ask me.
Sorry.
Well, I haven't been archery hunting for elk in September, so it sounds like I need to put that on my bucket list. But I have been to Arizona spotting and stalking some mule deer, and that was probably one of the most fun experiences I've ever done. Spotting and stalking mule deer with a rifle.
What about dream hunt? What about bucket list hunt?
I've already done that. I hunted in Texas with y'all.
I'm
hunting
with Kevin everywhere.
South Texas with the McFerrins. So, hey.
I know what Bonnie's is.
Y'all want to hear?
Go for it.
Of course.
Doll sheep.
Doll sheep.
Doll sheep. And I tell you what, like probably what was it, the first year I was hunting? The very first year I was hunting, Mike had like a hunting magazine. And I didn't know diddly squat about anything, and
it was a bighorn on there.
It was a bighorn, and I told him, I said, you know what? I think I really want to hunt one of these. And he goes, of course you do.
It's like an $80,000 hunt, Bonnie.
20 years later,
and you want a Louis Vuitton backpack.
20 years later, I still have not done that, but we put in and we put in for our kids and stuff, and Georgia Kate's always telling me she's going to draw, and I'm like, that would be a dream come true for me to see her go on one of those hunts. I think sheep hunting, I don't know. I hear once you start sheep hunting, you get addicted. But like I said, it's a bucket list. It's a dream hunt. I'm going to keep playing the lottery, and maybe Maybe one day I'll be sitting behind a big sheep.
We'll just do like Georgia Kate. Call Mike at 3 in the morning and say, "Hey, I got a sheep right here. I need to shoot. What can,
can I shoot
Can I shoot this? I'll pay you back.
Yeah, I get it back to you when I get home.
I had years ago. I had a guy reach out to me from, I think it was British Columbia or somewhere up there. Want to know if I want to go on a mountain goat hunt. And I mean, I was like, it sounds kind of cool. What do you got? And he starts telling me all the details. And oh, we're gonna get up at 2 in the morning and we're gonna walk 43 miles up a wall to try to shoot this goat that's on a 2-inch ledge at 75,000 feet. And I really sat there for a minute and I thought about it. As cool as that might sound, no.
Yeah, I know. That's what our outfitter in Alberta. He also does sheep hunting, and he kept telling me every year, he's like, Bonnie, I'm not getting any younger, and neither are you. And I'm like, yeah, maybe I'm going to age out of that dream, but.
Well, that's like
those mountain goats you were talking about, Michael. The other thing with those too is they say, oh, well, when you do finally get a shot at one, he might roll 500 yards down a mountain and be completely busted up whenever you go pick him up. So there's that.
Yeah, I think they're cool animals, and it'd be cool to have one on the wall. They're beautiful, but I just think I'm past that point of the want to.
The want to, are you?
Like that,
As a want to out of you.
I'm still not there. I'm still not there.
I'm sore right now from riding a tractor. So could you imagine me hiking up a freaking vertical 90-degree cliff forever? So I don't know.
Well, Mike was always saying he wanted to bow hunt a grizzly, and
yeah, I like to bow hunt a grizzly or Yukon moose.
You can do that on flat ground, by the way.
You do that on flat ground.
I'll go with you on both of those.
Especially the moose. That would be on one of my dreams. I'd love to bow hunt a moose.
Yeah,
I'd do that one up. That's for sure. One more question I wanted to hit on a little bit, and we'll have to exclude the guys on this question, Bonnie. This one's for you. As a female hunter, and you've been fortunate and done a lot of great stuff in your quote hunting career, mule deer, elk, whitetail. What are some of the common challenges that, in your mind today, that women hunters run into?
So I would say in the past, not to go back, it was actually clothing. And, when I first started hunting, y'all, I wore men's clothes. So I've seen the progression of, going from not even having camo for women to having all this camo for women, which is awesome. And now women's bows, they're making bows, especially for women. Some of the challenges, is pretty much the stereotypes, and I probably in my younger days, I would let those things bother me. But now that I'm a little older, I don't really care what people think or whatever, but I have been in camps where, I haven't had the most welcoming feelings from some of the other male hunters, which is so funny, but I've always just tried to get out there and do my thing and not really worry about what anybody's thinking or whatever. But I guess, did I answer that right? I don't know.
No, it's good. Nowadays the problem we have is we have men wearing the women's clothes that go tractor hunting, and that
exactly.
That
that's
can make
what
an awkward
fits me
environment.
the best now. I don't know why you gotta.
Because you have those curves, Kevin.
Well,
they just fit better.
Not to go down the bathroom road, but it's so funny. A lot of my female friends that aren't hunters, one of the biggest questions that I've told that I get all the time is where do you go to the bathroom? Wait, you're out in the woods?
Where does the bear go?
Where do you go to the bathroom?
Exactly.
So, and most of the time, like Harmon Blanton he's our producer now. He's been our cameraman forever. And, there's challenges of, okay, hang on. Can you turn the other way while I go to the bathroom? Stuff like that. But, for the most part, I think a lot of male hunters are really, they think it's cool. They think it's awesome that I hunt. And actually, somebody came up to Mike one time and asked him, they said,
yeah, did Bonnie teach you how to hunt?
I mean, he was
everything I know.
He was so serious. And
no, was it a man or a woman?
It was a man.
Yeah,
it was a man asking that.
And,
and
because he knew you'd been hunting a while.
He knew I'd been hunting a while, and honestly, it's the other way around. Mike has taught me everything that I know. I mean, I did not grow up in the outdoors, and when we got married, he loved to be out there, and I was always like, I remember saying like, well, what time are you going to be back, or why didn't you get anything, or things like that, and then one time I was actually listening to a sermon on the radio, and the preacher was talking about, having things in common with your spouse and your mate, and ladies, if that means picking up a golf club, try it or whatever. And I was like, you know what? So I told Mike, I was like, hey, maybe I'll try hunting with you. And he was like, really? I said, yeah. And he goes, okay, well then I'm taking you to the archery shop. And he's like, I want you to shoot a bow. And so he took me down to this archery shop, and this lady in there taught me how to draw it back and all this. And I was like, just clueless, but over the years, he has coached me and taken me along and been patient for the most part. And, kind of gave me the ability to be able to go out. And I've been out west elk hunting without him. I've been to Alberta without him.
The last few years.
The last few years, just doing my own thing. So the progression has been cool, and I really do, have him to thank for showing me how to do all of it. And also, every hunter, I think every single time I'm in the stand, pretty much every single time I learn something. I walk away with a lesson in it, like, oh, maybe I should have done this, or maybe I should have done that, or I could have done that better. So that's the thing too about being outdoors and hunting, is it's constantly making me grow and learn. And I like that. I like to learn new things, and then different animals. I like the challenge, and so I don't know. Anyway, I'm talking too much, but
no, that's spot on. I think we all as hunters should listen to that, and especially you're honing your skills basically, and it makes us more efficient and more productive and better in the woods, and you get to enjoy it more when you're in your mind you're doing things right, and you're getting better at this chess match that we play all the time with deer and turkeys and everything else that we go after.
Exactly, because as a hunter, you want to be the most ethical hunter that you can
right.
be, and you owe that to the animal. And I mean, I think there's always room to learn more and grow more and be better at what you're doing. So speaking of, I probably need to be practicing more right now.
We all need to. But when it's 112 outside, you don't really want to shoot.
Yeah. Hey, it's 8:15. It's almost dark. You want to go shoot your bow for a little bit? It's 98 degrees instead of 105.
Around here, that's when the mosquitoes all of a sudden
I know. Let's spray down and go shoot. But, you got to do it. I always feel like when you're practicing and, you just have that confidence when opening day comes. And
yeah. So now, Kevin, we know the truth that Bonnie taught Mike everything.
Everything.
Yeah. Bonnie taught Mike everything he knows about deer hunting.
And last year, I don't know if y'all recall, but, myself, Georgia Kate, and McKenna, we all shot bigger bucks than Mike.
That's a fact.
Look at it. And he was like, you mean, he's the one, honestly, he's the one doing a lot of the legwork, most of the legwork, and
Can we just say all the legwork?
Hang on, we're gonna pat him on the back.
Let's get everybody give Mike.
You taught him well, Bonnie. You taught him well.
I taught him well. Yeah. Here we are. We're about to be married 28 years. He's finally learning, guys. He's finally.
See, that's the thing. Mike really didn't know it, but Bonnie was really teaching him the whole time, because now he knows he's doing it all, because she psychologically taught him that he needed to do it all for her to kill 200-inch deer. That's it.
Right.
Because without me, she knew that deer was there.
Exactly. She knows there's one out there somewhere. You just got to find it.
She lets me go find it.
Exactly. It's like
good leaders and good leaders and good bosses hire the right people to do the job underneath them. You know.
Surround yourself.
It's like when I was a little boy. My dad was fishing. He said, "Here, son, hold my rod for me right quick." With the fishes already on there.
Yeah.
Oh, I got one, Dad. I caught him. Yes, sir, you did. Yeah.
Good job.
See, it's all psychic. It's psychological.
Wait a minute. Big Mike didn't do that for me at all this weekend.
He didn't let you
well, that ought to tell you something, Kevin.
But, you know, I don't know what this season brings. So, you know, it might be Mike's turn to.
Obviously, it's going to be now after this conversation. Mike's like, okay, I'm going to show him
now. I'm pretty sure after this podcast, he will definitely shoot the biggest deer this year.
Mike's going to be like,
now that we're in a drought, I mean, he's all yours this year. You shoot this year.
Yeah.
Mike's going to be like, okay, Bonnie, I got you a management deer. Georgia, you got a management deer. Guess what, McKid? I'm management deer.
Yeah.
Mike's like, oh, I think I got 5 trophies.
Okay.
Now, McKenna's deer, we knew about it. We had some. I set up on him. I actually had saw him through a spot and scope. Went back and glassed him, and didn't. You know, he was so far away I couldn't tell how big he was. We knew he was a shooter, and when she actually shot that deer, he was a big surprise. I mean, he was 199. He was within an inch of being 200. We had no idea that deer was that big. She would. I would have been hunting more.
Just saying.
We talked about that on the show this year a little bit. We touched on it. But anytime McKenna McFerrin steps anywhere, whether it's Kansas, at home, wherever she goes,
New Mexico,
elk hunting,
yep.
She's kind of got that horseshoe in her pocket and just I don't know, comes out with a big one.
I've never had that problem. Have you, Kevin?
I was about to say you are exactly the one in our crew that has that problem.
I'm just the one that's like, we actually were, Kevin and I were shooting some on camera stuff this past weekend for our coming up shows, and we hunted in Oklahoma last year, and it was a terrible all the way around, but really the weather had more to do with anything. But Kevin's hunting, like, he has seen like one deer that was on the neighbor's property. That was it. And I go, and like the second morning, and I kind of knew what kind of situation we were in after a day of hunting. It like, hey, if we see a decent buck, we got to shoot it. And so this buck walks out, and my camera guy goes, "Is he a shooter?" And you can hear me on camera say, "He is today." Boom, he's done. So that's what Kevin's hitting on there, is like, just, you know, I mean, it may not be a 180, but he's dead.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you got to hunt wherever you're hunting. I mean, they're not 180s everywhere. So I mean, it's
that's
like,
right.
You know, you kind of adjust to where you're at.
There's no doubt about that, and that's the fun part of deer hunting. Everywhere you go, it's something's different. Texas is different than Kansas. Kansas is different than Iowa. Iowa is different than Georgia, and that's I think why we all really enjoy getting out there and doing all the different stuff that we do.
That's for sure.
No doubt.
Well, we're going to wrap this thing up. I know we've wasted enough of your morning that you can do something productive instead of.
And at the beginning, when you thanked us for coming or thanked us for being on here, we didn't get a chance to say thank you for having us.
Yes.
So.
Oh, well, our pleasure. Y'all are welcome anytime, of course. What's up first? We all know that opening day in Texas, Mike's going to go out there and have that 200 pegged down. Other than on the home turf there, what's up first for you guys?
We're kicking off in Colorado. Actually, Georgia Kate and I are going to Colorado first, archery mule deer. And then Georgia Kate and Bonnie are going to Alberta, spot and stalk, archery mule deer. And then we'll come back, hunt Texas. Bonnie and I both have Kansas tags this year, so we'll be hunting Kansas.
And that's it. And then we have a wedding. So the wedding is changing up my hunting schedule a little bit this year. It's just fine. So.
Kevin, y'all didn't raise that girl to not get married in deer season?
Yeah.
Jeez.
I know. I'm telling you what. We thought we raised her better than that, but
Well, see, Kevin, if they would have done it right, they would be getting married at the ranch during deer season, so Mike and Bonnie could hunt while all this was going on. You just had like the preacher show up and go, I do, and let's go get back in the stand. That's just how it works.
Yeah. But that's our season. Where y'all kicking off?
We're here in Georgia. Will be our first hunts, and then we just start scattering and going and doing and seeing what we can get into. I know we've got Wisconsin and Illinois, Kentucky. I'm going back to we're both. I forgot. Both going back to North Texas mule deer hunting, like I did last year.
Oh
so
yeah.
That's going to be a good time there. And then heck, I don't even remember. You know how it is. You got all the stuff lined up, and then you until you look at. I got to open my calendar to know when tomorrow comes.
Yeah.
So. But it's gonna be fun. Yeah, y'all too. I know we'll be sending pics back and forth, and hopefully we'll be sending pics back and forth. But anyway, thank y'all for taking the time out. Everybody's listening. Y'all please watch Legends of the Fall on Outdoor Channel. I think y'all got 3 or 4 or 5 times a week you come on. So if you hop on there, you can definitely find Bonnie, Mike, and Christian and McKenna and my favorite Georgia Kate and. Y'all be very entertained. Y'all see some big deer, some great footage, and some good people. So
and when you're watching, make sure you got some paper like Mike, so you can take notes and learn how to hunt from Bonnie.
Learn what Bonnie's teaching you.
Exactly. Yeah. I think literally on the bottom of the show, you should be like, Bonnie's hunting tip of the week is. Go from there.
That's right. Hey,
Pro tip.
Well, thanks again, Michael.
Yeah, thanks for having us. And
good seeing both of y'all.
Good luck to you guys this fall.
All right. Thanks, y'all, too. Thank everybody for listening to Backwoods Life podcast episode, whatever the crap we're on, because we always forget. I'm Michael Lee, and my studious co-host there, Kevin Knighton.
Take care.
Hey, it's been a good time.
See y'all.
Bye. See ya.